It is now officially Nanowrimo! It's the first day. Are you kidding me right now? Hi, hello, my name is Wendy. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm an adult author that writes supernatural and science fiction as of now. Today's video is going to be kind of a talkative video. It's going to be an update on Nanowrimo, what's going on, and how I'm faring so far. Originally, I was going to do daily vlogs to keep up to date what's going on with my story, how it's going, and everything else. By the second day, I can honestly tell you I've stopped vlogging. As you saw when I first started the channel, I had like the first day vlogged, and then after that, that was it. That was all I did. So this is me kind of catching up with that. It is, I think we're on day 13 now of Nanowrimo, and I am only almost 10,000 words into my story. I only got like 500 more words to go before I'm 10,000 words in, so I'm behind on Nanowrimo as well, but I am still writing, I'm still going, and I'm getting into the part of the story now. It's kind of, things are finally taking off. I'm excited for this next part that's coming up. Ready to write it. I'm basically at the catalyst of the story. I'm right where everything starts happening and building and fighting, and I'm going to have so much fun with this. When I originally started out this story, I was back in October when I was planning it and prepping it and everything else. I was going to try to do the Story Genius method of plotting out the story, which is basically you find your main character's misbelief, you go back and then you write 3 more scenes where this misbelief was established in your character's past, and then you go into the future and you write the ending scene, or the aha moment scene, where you realize where the character realizes their misbelief and either changes or doesn't changes or whatever. I was originally going to do that, but then I realized that it was such a long process, and I guess that is because I was also reading it and then trying to incorporate what I was reading into my own little story. And really, oh my god, it's a good method, don't get me wrong. Going back into the story, getting into the character's past, going into the future, and just figuring out why the character does what he does really isn't a bad way to figure out your story. Because even now, as I'm writing my story, yes, I gave up on the Story Genius method and went back to my Save the Cat method of plotting my story. I've also I'm still incorporating that Story Genius method into my outline, because these are just the main ideas. Up here, what you see on this little corkboard is just the main idea for scenes, and then as I'm writing the story, I'm going in and writing out the main plot point, what's going to happen, and then, like in the Story Genius method that they tell you to do, you figure out why they are doing this. How does it link back to the main belief, your main character's belief throughout the entire story? And so even as I'm writing this, I'm still thinking back to that, like, why are they doing this? Why is this happening? Why doesn't he want to do whatever it is he wants to do? You know, it's going back there. And I really hope that it's making my story better. But then again, this is the first draft, and I will probably figure out later on so many, like I've already got notes on the side of my draft where like, okay, you probably want to change this and you'll probably want to do this later, you need to add more here later, you know, the typical, all the extra stuff that you get inside the story as you're writing it. So reading the book wasn't a bad thing. If you have the time, go and read that book, like by Lisa Crone, and it really makes you think about why the events in your story are happening. It's not just one event after another, it's forcing you to actually think about the story. Really good book, really good read, highly recommended. Even if you don't use the plot method in it, I would still read it. Other than that, it's been me kind of getting to know my character. Yes, he's been in my head for 2 years, like I mentioned in my previous video, but he's just been sitting there. He's been like, okay. He's just kind of been sitting there, and so I've written out a few scenes. I'm not using any of the scenes that I've written out in the past couple years. I've basically redesigned the entire story. Go figure. And I also have other characters that I didn't really think about when I came up with this idea. Like, I knew I had this idea for a guy and his brother. They would be like assassins or something, and it would be assassins or, you know, hired guns or something, and they would have to save this person that's in trouble. That's about all I knew of the story. So in October, I was like, okay, I actually need people. I need villains. I need side characters. I need to come up with the brother's name, because I didn't even have a name for the brother. And yeah, it was all kind of thrown together in like 1 month, and now it's being written in almost a month. I don't think I'm going to get it written this month. Like I said, I'm only at 10,000 words. I don't think it's going to get written this month, but it is going to get finished. I am going to finish it. In fact, one of the characters is the guy that they rescue the person from. And as I was trying to come up with this scene and how this would work out, I was doing it at work. Had some free time at work, and I was writing down on a piece of paper, and I couldn't come up with the guy's name. I'm like, I can't keep calling this guy a-hole. I looked at my coworker and I was like, I can't keep calling this guy a-hole. He's got to have a name. Throw me a name, any name. And she just kind of looked at me. She goes, Holston. A. Holston. I was like, hey, that will work for now. And that's kind of the character's name. But yeah, that's the character's name. I didn't turn my phone off. I'm sorry. And so yeah, as of right now, that is the character's name. And I'm sticking with it, and I'm kind of liking it. Like, it's kind of growing on me. So I might just keep using it, just because I can. I'm also realizing that my main character isn't a very talkative character. Like, most of these scenes that I'm writing out are thoughts on what's going on in his head, or how he views the world and people and everything else, and he's not actually talking. Like, I have other characters there trying to talk to him, and he's just like, yeah, okay, we can do this, and then that's pretty much it. And I'm beginning to think that my other character is, his brother is definitely a far more talkative brother, and he is far more crude and straight up and don't give a shit, but that's fine. That's cool. And then the person that they saved, she is definitely a talkative character, and she's, I don't know. And yeah, this should be interesting. And it's not that he doesn't talk, it's just like I said, he doesn't have a whole lot to say. He's kind of the quiet brother, because, you know, he was the quiet brother. He was the one that kind of followed along, followed his older brother's lead. Whatever his brother wanted to do, he did it. And he didn't have much to say. He didn't have much input into what's going on. And so getting into his head is really getting into his head and really getting into his thoughts and feelings and getting him to actually speak words. And I know this sounds crazy because I'm crazy and it probably makes me sound crazy, but getting him to actually talk is something else. I'm like, okay, dude. That's all we're going to say in the matter. Got it. Great. So, as we get further into the book, hopefully he'll get more talkative. And that's pretty much it. That is my story right now. I'm not going to reveal a whole lot of the story. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to attempt vlogs again. I may do another writing update if I get more into the story and into the story, and if anything changes, and I'll probably get more into how my plotting process is working out, if it's working out for me, because like I said, right now I've got the basics up there on the board, and as I'm getting to each scene, I'm writing it out into the scene cards that was provided from the Scrivener's Story Genius template that I downloaded when I originally decided I was going to use the Story Genius method. So I'm kind of, like I said, I'm infusing the two right now, and it seems to be working out. My story is definitely a lot more thought out. It's definitely a lot more structured, but at the same time, it's completely random. Like, you don't really know. I don't really know if this is the course that it's actually going to take, except for the ending. And even on the ending, I'm still kind of hazy on, which was fine, because even in my first book, Stop the Raven, I was hazy on the ending. I didn't know how it was going to go or where it was going to lead until I actually got there. So, that being said, like I said, I'm not going to attempt daily vlogs anymore. I'll just do a weekly thing and let you know how it's going. And if there's any updates, if the process isn't working and I start all over, I will leave you know. Until then, until next time, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment. How is your story going? How is your method of writing working for you? Is it not working for you? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. Till next time. Bye.